Well, hello there. Thank you for joining us again. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a subject that is very near to our hearts here at Eagle Force. It's part of our DNA. It's the idea that your quality management system should meet your business needs. And before it meets the needs of the standard, it should be meeting the needs of the business. And for us, that is much more than just a nice slogan. It sounds good, but it's how we approach everything that we do. But the first question that comes to mind is, neat, what's that mean? So in your words, how would you say what that means?
Exactly, because we always say that. In our advertising and everything, we talk about meeting your business needs before you meet the requirements of the standard, and it's a way of thinking. But one of the ways of approaching is, let's talk about what it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean that you put a system together that's going to be easily certified, although that might be output of it. It also doesn't mean one that's not going to bother anybody in the organization, or that's something that, no one's going to get their feathers ruffled, or
it's not going to be making waves or something.
Right, or a minimalist system that has, that's, you don't even know it's there. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
When we're talking about business needs, we're talking about putting something together that actually helps the organization compete and excel. And one of the things that I have experienced over the years, for the last 20 years, I've been talking to senior executives around the country in organizations, and I've always asked them this question, kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it was interesting the response I got. I would say, when you lay awake at night worrying about your business, which I know you do, can you hardly wait to get to the office the next day to use your AS9100 system to fix it? That's the reaction I always get.
Yeah.
They laugh at me. And, why do you think that is?
Well, yeah, nobody. This isn't a tool that comes to mind for that, because it's not a tool that was really intended for running the business so much as meeting a standard, meeting a list of requirements.
Right, and the reason most organizations do this, there's really two reasons are related why organizations do this in the first place, is number one, if they don't have the certification, their customers are going to drop them like a hot rock.
Right.
The second reason is, which is kind of related to it, they want to break into a market, and so they know if they have the certification, they'll have credibility and they'll be able to, build their customers. The third and distant reason why organizations would do this is to improve their business operating systems, which is really what we want to see our customers do, because unless this is a system that gets right down and affects the business practices and the way an organization competes, you're not going to see the kind of results that you expect to have, nor are you going to see top management supporting this thing.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've done in the past, when 2000 standard rolled out, I traveled around the country doing seminars. I probably did 50, 60 seminars. They were breakfast seminars. We gave everybody a cardboard donuts, and that was their breakfast. But then we covered the requirements of the standard. And one of the things I always ask when you had a room full, 50, 60 people sitting in your room, would ask, how many of you in here feel like you're not getting top management support? Hands would go up all over the place.
Probably the only hands that didn't are the guys that had top management sitting right next to
Yeah,
them.
that was something that we did have that caveat. If your management's sitting next to you, don't even answer this question. But my partner, or president, Bill Hauser, often says, in most of the time, those management systems don't deserve top management support.
That's interesting.
Because you're interested in putting, not necessarily you, my viewers, because you guys would never do this, but many people put these systems together trying to just to achieve the certification and not affect business practices. But the interesting thing, in reality, business really competes on three things. Snap quiz. What are those three things they compete on?
Cost, delivery, and quality.
Pretty good. In fact, if you look at marketing mix, the only thing it adds to it is the marketing itself. But the three-legged stool every organization has to compete on is delivery, cost, and quality. If you're only focusing on quality, that may not be where the organization, what their needs are. So one of the critical things that has to happen in order to meet these requirements that we're talking about in the standard in a way that meets your business needs is understand what your business needs are.
Yeah.
So is your organization struggling with quality, or are they struggling to compete on cost or on delivery?
Right, to the point of top management support, if you're looking to get support from top management and their primary focus at this point is trying to drive down cost, but you're coming in looking for support for something that's focused solely on quality, they might see the merits to what you're talking about, but their focus right now is somewhere else. So you got a big gap there you're trying to bridge to get their support behind what you're trying to do.
And you're really handicapped in the first place because they call this a quality management system. That's why a lot of our clients call it a business management system, because this is really about managing the business. And one of the things happens is by calling it a quality management system, everybody focuses that this is about quality. And if your company's not having quality issues, this is going to they're going to say, don't bother me with this isn't the issue.
Right.
Last thing I want to do is spend more money when I'm trying to reduce costs. But the cool thing about what this really is a management system and the tools are all there to capture gains that you can make in any of these areas. So when you set these objectives, if you know that your organization, one of the needs is delivery issues, and you walk in and say, boss, you know what? Let's use our management system to address that. Let's set that as an organizational objective and come up with a robust plan that we implement through our processes. You're going to get support.
Yeah, if your QMS is designed in a way that is aware of the business needs and is used to leverage to improve those needs or whatever, they're going to be looking to you as, for the QMS to apply that towards the issue. And now not only do you have support, but you're sort of the go-to, you're part of the solution for their top objectives.
One of the things you will find is that this is, again, a management system, and you have tools that you can use to support the management system, whether it's Six Sigma to a fixed quality, or Lean for costs, or theory constraints for improving delivery. There's a lot of tools you can use that function within your management system. But again, first you have to identify what are the needs so that you can set the objectives, so that you can develop your systems to meet those needs. And if you do that, and that's what we're stressing all the way through this, be thinking of that as we're going through these processes and looking at the requirements. One of the reasons why the last episode we talked about was the standard has evolved to where you're saying, here's my objectives, here's the plan to accomplish it, who's going to do what, when you're going to do it, how are we going to know it's accomplished. If you line those up with what the actual needs are, you're going to find you're going to get all the top management support you can possibly use.
Yes, and I think that level of detail in honing and refining this specifically for your own business needs speaks to another broad issue that is within this industry of using canned programs, and where you get a handful of forms, you sort of fill these things out, and like magic, you now have a QMS in place. But those don't work, and they can't work for the reasons that we just talked about. They're not meant to meet your business needs. They're meant to meet the needs of a standard, and you're going to have more frustration than you're going to have benefit.
So I hope this helped you. This is what we do when we focus with an organization, is we try to key on what is the organization's needs. I would strongly suggest you look at the same thing and develop your processes around that. The next time we get together, Mike, we're going to talk about a really thrilling topic, which is the documentation on how that's changed in the standard. And in a way, you're going to find out it actually relates to this, believe it or not.
Yeah, it does. We've mentioned that in past episodes, documented information, what that means, and we're going to start digging into that and kind of defining it for you. So hopefully this was helpful for you. And if you have any questions or want to see us talk about something on the show here, feel free to hit us up on the website. You can email us. We would love to hear from you. And until then, we will see you next time.